Let's discuss frying pan safety. Your apartment will come with a frying pan that is useful for cooking, but can also be dangerous. There are several things you can do to prevent burns and fire when frying food. First, always start with a dry pan. Even a little water will splatter if there's grease in the pan as well.
Okay.
Never touch a frying pan on the stove without protective hand gear. And remember to use wooden, not metal spoons when stirring food. Minimize the chances of getting burned by cooking at a lower temperature, and make sure you have pot holders and oven mitts within easy reach. Never leave the kitchen when you are frying food or using the stove for any reason. If a pan is left on the stove for too long, it will start a fire in your kitchen. If your pan does catch on fire, first try to cover it with a lid. This should smother the fire. However, if it doesn't, remember that you can't put out a grease fire with water. The water will actually cause the grease fire to spread. So keep a large, opened box of baking soda near the burner. If there is a fire, keep pouring until the fire is smothered. Call 911 emergency services as soon as you suspect you cannot control the fire. If you do not have a phone, evacuate the building and ask a neighbor to call 911 for you. Now, it's time for review. Question number 1. Adam thinks it's okay to leave the room with the stove on. What do you think? Talk it over with someone next to you. Leaving the stove unattended is a huge fire risk. It could burn down your home and put your family in danger. Avoid doing this at all costs. Question number 2. What is wrong with this picture? Talk it over with someone next to you. Never put a hot pan on the floor of your home. It will damage the floor and cost you money to fix. Instead, place hot pans only on heat-proof surfaces, like a cloth or ceramic tile. Now, let's talk about disposing of fats while cooking. After you are done cooking in a frying pan, you must carefully get rid of the remaining grease and fats left behind. Grease and other fats from meats should be allowed to cool before disposing of them. You can do this by first straining the grease into a metal can and putting the can in the freezer to be thrown away later. To prevent drain clogs, never put hot or cold grease in the sink. Here's what you should know in case of fire. Your home will come with a smoke detector. This device alerts you when smoke may be in your home. This is what it will sound like when it goes off. If your smoke alarm is beeping or you can't control a fire in your home, you must get to safety outside of the building. You should locate your nearest exits ahead of time in case of emergency. Follow the most direct path out of the building and evacuate yourself and your family. Be sure to stand at a safe distance from the building until help arrives. From there, dial 911. If you don't have a phone, find the nearest neighbor and ask them to call for you. If your clothing or body come in close contact with fire, remember these 3 steps to putting the fire out. You want to stop what you're doing, drop down to the floor, and then roll back and forth until the fire is out. Now, let's practice stop, drop, and roll together. Go with us through the motions and say the words aloud. The first thing you do is stop what you're doing, drop to the floor, and roll to smother the fire. Let's move on to weather safety. Weather in Iowa consists of 4 distinct seasons. We experience a wide range of temperatures, and you will want to be prepared to handle the extreme seasonal changes. During the summer, temperatures can get very warm. Anything above 90 degrees can be dangerous if you're not prepared to handle the heat. Avoid staying in the sun for long periods of time. Make sure you wear protective clothing or sunscreen. If you are going to be outside, it's important that you stay hydrated by drinking plenty of water throughout the day. Although they don't occur very often, tornadoes are a part of Iowa summers. Tornadoes look like funnel-shaped clouds made up of rotating winds and are very destructive, so for your own safety, it's important to be prepared for them. During a tornado watch, it is important to pay attention to the news and radio that will give you updates on where the tornado is and if it's coming close to you. Make sure you determine a safe place in your apartment or building where your whole family will go in case of a tornado. The safest places are those without windows and towards the inside and lower floors of the building. During a tornado, go to your predetermined safe place and crouch down in a ball. Cover your head and neck with something heavy for protection. If you don't have access to a TV or radio and are unsure what to do, go to a neighbor's house and ask them for help. Iowa winters can be just as brutal as the summers. You will experience ice, snow, and extremely cold temperatures. You will want to wear thicker clothing, closed-toed shoes, and gloves to prevent frostbite and hypothermia.
Just leave your hand there for a second, Dad.
And remember to walk and drive slowly because there may be ice on the sidewalks and roads. Next, we're going to talk about traffic safety. Make sure that any time you are driving or riding in a car that you wear a seatbelt at all times. It is for your safety, and it is the law. To use it, pull the strap across your chest and insert the metal clip into the buckle. When walking around Des Moines, always cross busy streets at designated crosswalks. This means that cars on both sides of you will be forced to stop, making it safe for you to cross. Only cross the street when the crosswalk light says you can. The red hand means wait. The white or green walking symbol means it is safe to walk. Still, be alert of traffic on all sides of you. When crossing the street, stay within the painted white lines as you get from one side to the other. Be sure to utilize public transportation, like the Des Moines DART bus system. This will allow you to get around the city for little cost. Also, watch out for large vehicles like buses and moving trucks. Now we will be covering identity theft and fraud safety. First, always remember to keep your I-94, Social Security card, and other identification in check. Put them in a safe place and know where they are at all times. You'll want to keep your I-94 and Social Security cards in a safe place at home unless you need them for something specific. There are a couple of tips to keep in mind when dealing with your mail. Individuals attempting identity theft and fraud may try to reach you through the mail that you receive. When someone steals your identity, it means that they take all of your personal information and use it as their own. This is important to keep in mind when throwing away any mail that may contain your name, address, PIN, or Social Security numbers. Make sure you read and open all of your mail and keep track of any documents that have personal information on them. There is also another type of mail called spam that could turn into a type of identity theft or fraud. Never respond to mail that promises large monetary rewards or prizes in exchange for your personal information. These mail items are a scam. Shred them or throw them away. Let's discuss what to do when encountering strangers. If you need to visit someone that you don't know at their house or apartment, it is custom to knock on the door. Put your hand in a fist, knock on the door, and wait for that person to answer. This ensures that the person you are visiting does not think you are an intruder. Some houses will also have doorbells, and most apartments will have buzzers. With buzzers, simply press the button that corresponds with the apartment you would like to notify, tell the person who you are, and they will unlock the door for you. If you're walking by the street and a stranger in a car stops and offers you a ride, always say no and get away from the vehicle. Never accept a free ride from a person you don't know, unless they are official public transportation. And always keep an eye on your children in public places like the park, grocery store, and mall. Here are some other safety tips you should know. Keep electrical items away from water to avoid electric shock and harming yourself or the appliance. Also, be careful with sharp objects like knives and scissors. Always hold these tools on the correct side and keep them in a safe place away from children. It may be helpful to keep a list of emergency contact numbers, the nearest hospital, and the USCRI phone number somewhere easily accessible so you can use them if needed. Finally, for you and your family's safety, always keep a first aid kit around the house with Band-Aids, gauze, and other emergency items. Band-Aids are very useful for small cuts and scrapes and may save you a trip to the doctor. A first aid kit will help you be prepared for any accidents. Now it's time for our final review section. Question number 1. You look outside your window and you think the clouds could form a tornado. What should you do? Talk it over with someone next to you. You should pay attention to the news and radio that will give you updates on where the tornado is and if it is coming close to you. If you don't have access to the news, go over to a neighbor's house. If a tornado does occur, take your family to a safe place in your house or building. Question number 2. When you see this symbol in the crosswalk, what does it mean? Talk it over with someone next to you. The walking man symbol indicates it is safe for you to cross the street. As a final reminder, always remember to call 911 in an emergency such as a serious accident or fire. You now know some basic tips for keeping you and your family safe. We hope this video will help you adjust quickly to your new life and home in America. If you have any further questions, do not hesitate to ask someone you know and trust or stop by the USCRI Des Moines office. This concludes the USCRI Des Moines Safety Orientation video.